Hello and welcome to the Astrology and Spirituality show for Tuesday, the 24th of November. Elisa, I think you're going to go first today, are you?
Yeah, so we're going to pick a tarot card today to see what spiritual
Shall
message.
I do it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Change things up a bit. You shuffle them.
I'll shuffle them and then you pick one. Oh, they're getting excited.
I bet they're not. There's one. Okay.
Okay. Well, the card that comes up here is the Nine of Swords. It isn't the easiest card to come up. We see a woman here. She's kind of plagued by a few nightmares, sleepless nights. It can mean that we get a bit of insomnia when this card comes up. Mostly this comes from anxieties, fears, worries. And one of the best ways we can deal with this card is first of all knowing it's number 9, which means it's coming to the end of a cycle. So there is some hope in sight. And secondly, really facing those fears, because sometimes we can build things up in our minds to a point it's so overwhelming, but if we break things down in more manageable chunks, it's easier for us to get through.
Well, that's really, really good advice. Now the astrology, there's a few things going on today. I was actually just looking at the wheel and trying to decide which really had the greatest prominence. I mean, the Sun's forging a really great semi-sextile to Venus throughout this week, and that semi-sextile of 60 degrees is enabling the Sun in the sign of Sagittarius, where it's finding its feet up to 2 degrees. It's very much about expansion, just at a time when we're dealing with quite a large contraction. But the interesting thing is that I think because Sagittarius energy and people sometimes can be great searchers of truth and realities, and you have Venus diving deep in Scorpio, very much about relationships and perhaps even intimacy, then perhaps this week is about gaining a new reality around our relationships. And as the week goes on, Venus then goes into an opposition with Uranus, which could mean that some things come into the open unexpectedly, or it could mean a sudden connection with someone in quite an electric way. Or if a relationship has become a little bit dull, perhaps it's time to share those anxieties that Elisa is speaking of, clear the air, and actually try to create ways in which things can become more exciting, more spontaneous and more off the cuff. So if there is a relationship worry going on at the moment, I think this week could tease it out into the open.
I really love that. So maybe a day of reinvention in some ways.
Yeah, definitely, because if a tie is basically very solid and secure, but just lost a bit of sparkle, maybe it would be good to try to do something together that is different for you both. So you're both outside your normal patterns. And if you have children, perhaps organising things that maybe, if they're old enough anyway, that they can pursue their own interests, and doing something completely different together might actually lead to a reinvigoration of that spark of attraction that was initially there.
Oh, I love that. Going on dates.
Not dates even when you're not allowed out.
Yeah.
But I suppose you could cook for one another. You could do things like be very thoughtful, make breakfast in bed, do something that you really don't like doing in the relationship that the other person perhaps takes the greatest part in. Perhaps doing that thing for them just thoughtfully could be a wonderful way to rekindle a sense of affection.
That's so lovely. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us here today. And if you would like to read your daily horoscope, you can find that in the description box beneath this video.
Indeed, but for now, from the A team, it is
Goodbye from him.
and it's goodbye from her. Goodbye.
Goodbye.